What if I told you the loudest way to shock the world is in silence? Not by shouting your plans, not by chasing applause, but by quietly focusing on yourself, on your growth, your purpose, your discipline, until the very people who doubted you have no choice but to watch you rise. This isn't about proving them wrong. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. Are you ready to stop watching and start building? Because your transformation begins the moment you stop looking around and start looking within. When you stop chasing people and start chasing purpose, everything shifts. The power to rise, to grow, to shock the world, it's already inside you. Focus on your calling. Stay faithful in the unseen moments. Speak life over yourself and let your growth speak louder than your words. Because when God is your foundation, you don't have to force anything. Your life will become the proof. In a world where everyone is constantly watching what others are doing, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. Social media highlights everyone's best moments, achievements, and victories, and if you're not careful, you begin to measure your worth by someone else's progress. But comparison is a thief. It steals your joy, drains your energy, and distracts you from the assignment God has given you. When you're busy looking sideways at other people's race, you're not giving your best to your own. The truth is, God doesn't bless copies. He blesses authenticity. You were never meant to mimic someone else's journey. You were fearfully and wonderfully made with a purpose uniquely designed for you. Your past, your pain, your personality, all of it plays a role in the story God is writing through your life. Instead of looking at how far others have gone, ask yourself, am I growing? Am I faithful to what I've been given? Am I becoming the person God called me to be? That's the focus that brings real transformation. It's not about being ahead of others. It's about being ahead of where you were yesterday. Growth isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet obedience, small victories, private discipline, and silent perseverance. The world may not see it, but heaven does. And in due time, what's been cultivated in the dark will shine in the light. Comparison keeps you stuck in insecurity and pride, either feeling not good enough or thinking you're better than someone else. Neither honors God. What honors Him is when you focus on your calling, walk in your identity, and develop your character. That's when you start living with freedom. That's when you stop striving and start thriving. Because your only real competition is the person you were before grace changed your life. When God begins a work in your life, it is intentional, personal, and purposeful. He doesn't start something just to leave it unfinished. The process may not always be easy or visible, but it's always active. Philippians 1:6 assures us that the one who began a good work and you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. That means God's hand is on you, even when you can't feel it. His plan is unfolding even when life feels stuck. His promises are true, even when the evidence hasn't yet arrived. You are not a random project. You are a masterpiece in progress, shaped by the very hands of the Creator. Often, we look outside for confirmation of our progress, but what God is doing within is far more important than what anyone else sees. Your development may be hidden, but it's never wasted. God works through process. He chisels, refines, restores, and strengthens you in ways that prepare you for the assignment ahead. Your job is not to complete the work, but to cooperate with it. Surrendering to God's process means letting go of impatience and choosing faith over fear, obedience over comfort, and trust over control. There are times when growth feels slow, when prayers seem unanswered, and when purpose feels distant. But that's when you must remember He started the work, and He's committed to finishing it. God doesn't give up on what He begins. Every lesson, every delay, every disappointment has purpose. What feels like a setback may actually be divine preparation. Even in your failures, God is still writing your story. Even in your weakness, His power is made perfect. The good work isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about being formed into the image of Christ through every season, challenge, and breakthrough. Many people chase success by imitating what they see others doing, hoping that if they copy the path, they'll arrive at the same destination. But true greatness doesn't come from imitation. It comes from cultivation. It comes from doing the slow, patient work of building your own roots, shaping your character, and developing your gifts. You weren't created to be a duplicate of anyone else. You carry a unique purpose that requires your unique preparation. You don't become strong by copying strength. You become strong by training your own muscles through discipline and consistency. Cultivation means investing time in your personal growth, even when no one is watching. It means allowing God to dig deep into your soul and pull out the weeds of pride, fear, insecurity, and laziness so that something real and lasting can grow. Greatness begins in the soil of daily habits. It's found in how you manage your time, how you treat people, how you steward your responsibilities, and how you respond when no one's around to applaud you. The world may reward talent, but God honors faithfulness. Too often, we want the platform without the process. We want recognition without refinement. But shortcuts can't replace seasons of preparation. When you cultivate your own soil, your own mind, your own attitude, your own habits, you begin to grow something strong enough to last through storms. Imitation may get you applause for a moment, but it won't build a foundation that endures. Your calling requires a version of you that only cultivation can bring out. That means you'll have to choose self-examination over self-promotion. You'll have to let God dig deeper than your image and deal with your heart. It won't always feel good, but it will always be worth it, because what's cultivated in secret will bear fruit in public. One of the most powerful responses to criticism is growth. When people expect you to fail, one of the best ways to answer them is by rising, not reacting. You don't have to waste time defending yourself, explaining your intentions, or proving your worth to those who have already made up their minds. Let your transformation do the talking. When you grow, when you become wiser, stronger, more disciplined, and more focused, your progress becomes your proof. It's hard to argue with fruit. Growth turns doubters into observers and critics into silent spectators. There's something unshakable about a person who refuses to be distracted by noise. People will talk. They'll criticize what they don't understand, mock what they can't control, and minimize what they secretly admire. But you don't need revenge. You don't need to clap back. You need results. And results come from the work done in silence, in prayer, in discipline, and in obedience to God. When you keep showing up, keep developing, keep pressing forward, your elevation will silence every false narrative. It's important to remember that silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. When you're truly growing, you don't have to announce every step. The ones who doubted you will eventually have to adjust their expectations when they see what God is doing in your life. You're not trying to impress people, you're trying to fulfill purpose. The more you focus on becoming better rather than appearing better, the more your results will speak louder than any rumor or opinion. Criticism can become a classroom if you let it. Let it push you to improve, not pull you into bitterness. Let it fuel your discipline, not your defensiveness. When your character is growing, you no longer feel the need to convince people. You're too busy becoming who they said you could never be. There is a divine pattern that runs throughout Scripture. What's done in private is rewarded in public. The world celebrates visibility, but God honors what happens behind closed doors. When you prepare in the quiet places, when you pray when no one sees, study when no one applauds, serve when no one appreciates, you are building a foundation that fame, pressure, and storms cannot shake. The unseen seasons are not wasted. They are where real power is developed. Before David ever faced Goliath in front of a crowd, he learned to trust God while protecting sheep in the field. Before Joseph stood in the palace, he honored God in the prison. Your private preparation is where God shapes your integrity, grows your endurance, and strengthens your faith. It's where He removes the distractions, breaks your dependence on validation, and reminds you that you were never called to impress people. You were called to walk in purpose. Some of the most important battles you'll fight won't be on a stage, but in your heart, your mind, and your daily choices. That's where champions are built. In silence, in solitude, in surrender. It's tempting to rush the process, to desire immediate results and public recognition. But a tree that grows fast without deep roots can't withstand the wind. Likewise, a life that's elevated too quickly without private preparation will eventually collapse under the weight of what it wasn't ready for. Trust that your secret work is setting the stage for something greater. While others are distracted by spotlight, stay committed to the slow work of obedience. Keep showing up, keep improving, keep seeking God in the quiet. The promotion will come, but it will be God who brings it. And when He does, there will be no doubt who gets the glory, because only He saw the full extent of your preparation. Many people spend their entire lives waiting for the right people to change, for the perfect circumstances to align, or for someone else to make a move. But real progress begins the moment you stop waiting and start taking ownership of your own life. The breakthrough doesn't come when others shift. It comes when you decide to shift. Waiting on others to fix things, apologize, support you, or finally recognize your value will only keep you stuck. God never told you to depend on other people to fulfill your purpose. He called you, He anointed you, and that means the power to move forward has already been placed inside you. There is freedom in realizing that you're not a victim of someone else's choices. You may not control what happened to you, but you do control how you respond. You control your attitude, your effort, your faith, and your growth. That's where transformation begins, not in their behavior, but in your mindset. As long as you blame others, you give away your power. But when you take responsibility for your part, your healing, your actions, your perspective, suddenly the chains start to break. God works through people who are willing to be accountable. He promotes those who stop pointing fingers and start working on their foundation. If you want a different harvest, you've got to plant different seeds. Change starts with you. How you pray, how you plan, how you persevere. When you stop complaining and start correcting your course, things begin to shift in the spirit. Taking responsibility is not about guilt, it's about growth. It's saying, Lord, I may not be able to fix them, but I surrender me. That's when heaven begins to move. That's when clarity comes. That's when peace returns. Because God always blesses the person who is humble enough to say, change me first. Chasing people will always leave you empty, frustrated, and disconnected from your true identity. When your life becomes about impressing others, gaining approval, or keeping up with expectations that were never meant for you, you lose sight of your purpose. But when you shift your focus to pursuing purpose, everything changes. You stop needing to be seen because you're already known by God. You stop trying to fit in because you've already been set apart. People may come and go, but purpose is what keeps you grounded. It's your divine assignment. It's the reason you're still breathing. You don't need everyone to like you. You don't need to be invited into every room. What you need is to walk in obedience to the calling God has placed on your life. Some doors will close. Some people will walk away, but that's okay because purpose will never abandon you. It's always calling you higher, pulling you deeper, and shaping you into the person God created you to be. When you chase people, you compromise. You water down your voice, shift your boundaries, and exhaust yourself trying to earn what was never yours to begin with. But when you chase purpose, you rise. You grow into vision, you operate with clarity, you stop settling for temporary applause and start building eternal impact. Purpose doesn't beg, it doesn't chase clout. It walks with confidence even when it's misunderstood. It builds quietly even when it's overlooked. It trusts God's timing even when the wait is long. And when you walk in purpose, the right people will find you, not because you chased them, but because your alignment attracted what your assignment required. You weren't created to follow the crowd. You were created to follow Christ. When you chase Him, purpose follows, and everything else will fall into place. The words you speak over your life shape the world you live in. Too often, people speak defeat before they even begin. They declare failure, fear, and frustration without realizing that their words are building the walls that keep them stuck. But when you speak life, when you declare truth, faith, and vision over yourself, you begin to align your mind and spirit with what God has already spoken about you. Proverbs 18:21 says, Death and life are in the power of the tongue, which means your mouth can either destroy your future or build it. If you want to walk in purpose, you have to learn to speak like it. This kind of language isn't about pretending things are easy. It's about proclaiming that God is able. It's about saying, I will overcome. Even when the odds are stacked against you, it's about declaring, I am chosen. Even when rejection is fresh, it's about saying, I have value. Even when people overlook you, speaking life is not hype, it's spiritual alignment. It's reminding yourself of what God says when everything else tries to drown it out. Along with your words, discipline is the structure that keeps your purpose standing. All the faith in the world won't matter if you're not willing to apply it with consistent action. Discipline is the proof that you're serious about becoming who God called you to be. It's not just about big moves. It's about daily decisions, how you spend your time, what you feed your mind, who you allow to influence you. These choices either strengthen or sabotage your growth. Staying disciplined doesn't mean being perfect. It means being intentional. It means doing the hard things when no one's watching, staying committed when motivation fades, and showing up even when you feel tired. When you combine life-giving words with consistent discipline, you create momentum that moves you forward. There's a power in quiet progress that the world often underestimates. In a culture obsessed with announcements, attention, and applause, there is something sacred about working in silence and letting the results do the talking. You don't need to broadcast every move you make, every step you take, or every dream you're pursuing. Growth doesn't require noise, it requires focus. The most powerful transformations often happen away from the spotlight, in the hidden places where discipline is cultivated, character is refined, and faith is strengthened. When you focus on becoming better, not proving yourself, you shift from needing attention to walking in intention. You no longer waste energy trying to be seen because you understand that true elevation doesn't come from people. It comes from God. The world may overlook you, but heaven sees you. And when the time is right, your consistency will create the kind of results that can't be denied. People may have counted you out, but they didn't count on your endurance. They didn't see the late nights, the silent prayers, or the quiet sacrifices. But all of it matters. All of it is building something real. There is no need to shout louder when you can rise higher. Success is not about proving the doubters wrong. It's about proving God right. It's about living out the purpose He planted in you, regardless of who sees it coming. When you stay committed to growth, you won't have to force people to notice. The fruit of your life will speak volumes, and the same ones who ignored your process will have to witness your progress. You don't need to rush the moment or manufacture your breakthrough. Just keep growing, keep grinding, keep trusting, because when you rise on purpose, with purpose, the shock comes not from what you said, but from what you became. Living for likes will always leave you empty because approval from people is temporary, but purpose is eternal. We live in a generation that is addicted to applause, constantly refreshing for validation, and measuring success by the number of followers, comments, or shares. But the truth is, likes can't sustain you when life gets hard. The same people who cheer you today might forget you tomorrow. When you live for their approval, you become a prisoner to their opinions. But when you live for legacy, you rise above the noise and start building something that lasts beyond your name, your face, and your moment. Legacy isn't built through popularity. It's built through purpose, faithfulness, and impact. It's about living with intention, sowing seeds in people's lives, speaking truth when it's not popular, and choosing character over clout. Legacy is what people remember when the spotlight fades. It's the integrity you carry when no one is watching, the kindness you show when it costs you, the decisions you make that honor God, even when no one claps for them. That's the foundation of a meaningful life. When you live for legacy, you're not trying to impress people. You're trying to leave something behind that points to something greater than you. You begin to focus on the next generation, on the souls you impact, on the values you pass down. You realize that your life is not about being seen, but about making a difference. Social media will fade, trends will shift, fame will pass, but what you build in love, in truth, and in obedience to God will echo beyond your lifetime. Choose to live a life that matters, not just one that's noticed. Don't just aim to go viral, aim to go valuable, because when you focus on legacy, your impact doesn't end when you do.